your active participation for the next 50 to 60 minutes. Please post all your queries in the chat box during the session. It will be answered soon after completing the lecture session by the guest speaker. Now, let me call upon our beloved HOD Madam, Mrs. Josephine Anita, to introduce the guest speaker. Over to Madam. Yes, ma'am, please.
Okay. A warm good evening to one and all present in the webinar. On behalf of the management, staff, and students of the MCA department, I cordially welcome Professor Balakrishnan, the resource person of today's webinar. Here is a short, it is not short, it is a very long profile of Dr. S. Balakrishnan. Dr. S. Balakrishnan is a professor and head Department of Computer Science and Systems at Sri Krishna College of Engineering and Technology, Coimbatore, Tamil Nadu, India. He has 18 years of experience in teaching, research, and administration. He has published over 15 books, 6 book chapters, 22 technical articles in CSA Communications magazine, 24 technical blogs, 1 article in Electronics for You magazine, 5 articles in Open Source for You magazine, and over 100 plus publications in highly cited journals and conferences. Some of his professional awards include Faculty with Maximum Publishing in CSA Communications 2017-19, International Data Science Writer of the Year 2019, MTC Global Outstanding Researcher Award, Contributors Competition winner July 2019, August 2019, and September 2019 by Data Science Foundation with cash prize of Euro 100 Inspiring Authors of India. Deloitte Innovation Award, cash prize of Rs 10,000 from Deloitte for Smart India Hackathon 2018. Patent Published Award, Impactful Author of the Year 2017-18. His research interests are artificial intelligence, cloud computing, and IoT. He has delivered several guest lectures, seminars, and chaired a session for 163 international and 58 national level conferences. He is serving as a reviewer and editorial board member of many reputed journals and acted as session chair and technical program committee member of national conferences and international conferences at Vietnam, China, America, and Hong Kong. He has published more than 21 patents on IoT applications and 1 granted copyright. A warm welcome you too, sir. Now I handed over the session to Professor Balakrishnan. Thank you,
Yeah,
sir.
thank you so much for nice introduction, ma'am. Good evening to everyone. It gives me a great pleasure for me to extend my wishes to all the participants. Data in today's business and technology world is indispensable. The big data technologies and initiatives are rising to analyze this data for gaining the insights that can help in making the strategic decisions like COVID or other decisions. The concept evolved at the beginning of 21st century, and every technology giant is now making use of big data technologies. So big data refers to is a vast and voluminous data sets that may be structured or unstructured. This massive amount of data is produced every day by business and users. So the big data analytics is a process of examining the large data sets to underline the insights and patterns. So the data analytics field in itself is a vast area. This is an overview. This is the introduction about that big data analytics. So just I will go through with my slide. Ma'am, can I? Somebody is presenting.
Madam Kalpana, please answer yourself.
Yeah, just a minute.
Participants, it's our humble request. Please don't present your screen. Madam Kalpana, please don't present your screen.
Ma'am, is it viewable, ma'am? The screen is viewable?
Not yet, sir. Your screen is not.
Yeah, somebody is sharing the things. I think just a minute.
1 second, sir. 1 second. Let me check.
Yeah, what about now, ma'am?
Yes, sir. Yes. Now it's.
Yeah.
Again, sir.
Yeah. So once again, good evening to everyone. So today topic is big data driven solutions to combat with COVID-19. So I'm Dr. Balakrishnan, professor and head from Department of Computer Science and Business System from Sri Krishna College of Engineering and Technology, Coimbatore. So today's session, the outline of the today's session is start with introduction about the data and big data and big data preparation. So whenever go for that, making the big data related projects and all, how we are preparing the data. So for the for that, it's a very important thing. These are preliminary things. So that is a big data preparation. Then what are the different types of tools used in the big data? And apart from that, what are the top big data technologies at present the industries are using? And we end up with the research project. So what are the different research, different COVID-19 related research based on the big data analytics. So these are the outline of today's session. So the session, actually the introduction, as per that introduction, the data in the today's business and technology world is indispensable. So the big data may well be the next big thing in the IT world. So the big data burst upon the scene in the first decade of the 21st century. The first organizations to embrace it were in online and startup firms like Google, eBay, LinkedIn, and Facebook. So these are the big data users in the early stage, in the beginning of the big data concept. So like many new information technology, the big data also it bring the dramatic cost reductions like cloud computing and other technologies. So apart from that, the big data, it's a substantial improvement in the time required to perform a computing task, as well as a new product and so many services are offering by that big data companies. So that is IT industry. So these are the overview, these are the introduction about the big data. So what is big data? So before entering into the big data, nowadays, actually the algorithms and predictive analytics are the future. So all the way, whenever as a computer science professional, we are aware of that algorithm. So the algorithm is very important thing. So all the way, the algorithms and predictive analytics, as per that big data technology, the predictive analytics is a very important technology. So algorithms and predictive technologies are the future. So whenever we go for making such a big data technology or big data oriented applications, here are two important steps to be needed. The first step, accumulation of data. So the data, how we are accumulating the data, that is a very important thing. So that is the first step. Second step, we are identifying the patterns and opportunities. So what are the patterns are available and what type of opportunities we are providing based on that data accumulation. So that is the second important step. After that, after first two step is very important thing. So after that, the final step is to create the algorithm. So we have to write the algorithm. So many algorithms are available, big data based on the big data analytics. So we have to create our own algorithm or already exist, so many existing algorithms are there. So the final step is to create the algorithm that deliver the actionable insights as services to customers and the prospects. So that is a very important thing. So that is the final step. So the first two steps is a preliminary thing, accumulation of the data and identifying the pattern and opportunities. So that is a two preliminary things. So after that, we may we have to create our own algorithm or existing algorithm. So based on that algorithm, we are getting we are delivering the actionable insights as a services to the customers and the some prospects. That is a thing. So these are the there are the countless examples of including that nowadays we are we may say automated stock market timing, arbitrage trading, medical diagnostic system, and some pharmaceutical procurement, weather forecasting model, internet search engines. So like that. So the applications of our big data is going on like that. So now at present we are in the internet world. So we are in the IoT world. So all the way, the IoT, big data, and cloud. These are the interrelated technology and terminology. So based on that, so many applications are there. So all the things. So finally, we may say that algorithms are the final link between the big data and the revenue. So that is the thing all the way. Algorithm is a very important thing. So the algorithms are the final link between the big data and the revenue for the industry. So the big data and algorithms also form the foundation of virtual reality and the artificial intelligence concept. So that is the thing. So nowadays we are in the IoT world. So both virtual reality and the artificial intelligence, it forms some foundation that is in terms of the big data and the algorithm. So that is a very important thing. So the big data is similar to the small data, but bigger in size. That is the thing. Similar to the small data, but it's a bigger in size. But having the data bigger, it requires a different approaches. It may be different techniques are there, different tools are there, so different architectures are there. So we'll see in the upcoming slides. So the main aim of that big data is to solve the new problem or old problems in a better way. So compared to the previous IT applications, previous thing, the big data provide so many challenges in that data part. So either it's a new problem or old problem, the solution it may be in a better manner. So the big data generates the value from the storage and the processing of the very large quantities of digital information that cannot be analyzed with the traditional computing technique. So as the computing power, it continues to increase and the technology continues to evolve, the trends in big data will directly impact the development of these other related fields. So the previous I told so many examples. So nowadays all the applications or all the real world problem will be solved with the help of this technology, big data, artificial intelligence, and virtual reality or IoT or like that. So as the computing power continues to increase, increase and the technology continues to evolve, the trends in big data also will directly impact the development of these other related fields. That is, big data is very, very important in that aspect. Apart from that, nowadays there's artificial intelligence. So the machine learning. So the machine learning is a subset of that artificial intelligence. So the machine learning also they will inevitably improve the performance in the autonomous driving vehicle. So nowadays we are aware of that autonomous vehicle. So without driver, the vehicle, the cars are running. So in that case also the machine learning is a very important part. So in that case the big data is a very indirectly the big data will be useful for that application also. Apart from that, we are having so many the augmented reality interfaces also there. So for that cases also the big data is very important thing. So that is a thing. In the new field like big data, the best way to do that is follow the companies and some of the leading big data and innovators. Example SAP. So the SAP they are exploring the world of big data. For example, Oracle industry, Oracle company, they are the foundation for the data innovation. IBM is a big data at the speed of business. Next, so many companies are there. So these are some of the companies. Next, Accenture. So Accenture, we may say that is a big success from the big data. Next, Dell. Dell is one of the actually the company everybody is aware of that. So in Dell, the big data is a new currency. It invests wisely. So like that. So like that it will be going on. So many companies, MapR, Hewlett Packard. So many companies they are using the big data concept for the betterment of their data handling and other things. So that is the thing. So the big data generate the value from the storage and the processing of the very large quantities of the digital information that cannot be analyzed with the traditional computing technique. That is one important thing. It's a big data. It generates the value from the storage as well as the processing. So storage in terms of the huge storage as well as the processing power also more. So for the very large quantity of the data information that cannot be analyzed with the traditional computing technique. That is one important thing. So this is we may say that also some drawback of the big data. So it cannot be that the traditional cannot be possible to analyze with the traditional computing techniques. So this is an overview. This is the introduction about the big data. So what is big data? So nowadays, so everybody, the Walmart handles more than 1 million customer transactions every hour. So the Facebook handles 40 billion photos from its user base. Decoding of the human genome originally take it 10 years to process. Now it can be achieved in 1 week. So this is the process. So big data market, the revenue forecast from the 2017 to 2022. So the revenue in terms of the billion, 2017 the billion is the revenue is 35 billion, and it's improved, drastically improved. And now at present 2020 we are expecting 56 billion, and in 2021 we are expecting 64 billion of the revenue through this big data concept, big data technology, big data concept. And 2022 75 billion revenue we are expecting. So these are the revenue generation through that big data technology. So that is another very important thing. So next, some make it 4 Bs. So whenever go for focusing about the big data, all the way we may say that is a 4 Bs is very important in that big data: volume, velocity, variety, and veracity. So that is a volume, velocity, variety is a very important three views. But apart from that, now we are in that we are making it veracity also. So the volume is nothing but the data at rest. So this we are taking the data in terms of the terabytes to exabytes of the existing data to process. Next, the data in motion, that is a velocity. Velocity is nothing but movement of the data from one end to other end. So in that streaming of the data from the milliseconds to seconds to respond the things. Next, variety. So the different, that is the data may be structured or unstructured, or it may be semi-structured or like that. So we have the data in the many forms. It may be a structured, unstructured, text or multimedia oriented thing. This is a variety of data. Next, veracity. In that veracity, we are somewhat we are not actually the first three is a certain things, but the veracity is not a certain thing. This is uncertainty due to the data inconsistency and incompleteness, ambiguity, latency, deception, and model approximation. So the data in doubt. So suppose if you go for that doing any research work based on that big data in the sense, you may choose that veracity. So because so many research is going on based on that veracity, so that is still we are lagging up data with the help of that veracity. So that is the data in doubt. So that's 4B. That's how the big data, how we are using the big data. This is with the help of the 4B: volume, variety, velocity, and veracity. So that is a thing. So next, the same thing, the 4B characteristics of big data. So the first thing, the volume, quantity, and size. So the same it's like the replication, but it's easily you'll get the idea about that. What is the different 4Bs? So the volume is quantity and size. So the quantity and size in the sense here the 1 terabyte, that is 1024 terabyte like that. And variety is a type and nature. The different type. It may be a text or image or audio, video or like that. So the multimedia pictures, the multimedia tools. So that is a thing, variety. Next, the velocity is nothing but frequency. Based on the frequency of the generation process, that is a real time. At present, we are using the velocity. So the veracity is a quality and value. So that is a thing. So that is the insights about that data and other things. So this is the characteristics of 4B big data. That is a so next, a big data landscape. That is a very important thing. So the most important changes and opportunities propagating through the big data landscape in 2020. The first, we may say the hybrid clouds in the 2020. Actually this is a earlier to 2019 big data landscape. Actually, the 2019 big data landscape. It's in terms of the infrastructure. The first one is based on the infrastructure, the analytics, application, data source like that. But before that, just I'm focusing about what are the different changes and opportunity propagating with the help of that big data landscape in 2020. So the first point, hybrid cloud becomes the default hybrid cloud. The hybrid cloud is nothing but we are aware of the cloud as per the cloud platform. So many that what services as a platform. So many things are there. So apart from that, so many services are there. But here, whenever we go for that big data landscape in 2020, we are using hybrid clouds. Hybrid clouds become the default thing. So the hybrid cloud is nothing but a mixture of the combination of the on-premises platforms and the cloud platforms. So the cloud, that is a cloud platform, will probably become the new normal in 2020. So this is a hybrid cloud. The hybrid cloud is nothing but it's a combination of on-premises platform and cloud platform. So this is the first landscape in 2020, big data landscape in 2020. That is a hybrid clouds become the default. So the second one is a more business types turn to the data mapping. So that is the analytics. We may say the analytics also. So that is the coming year in the 2020. We are expecting we will see an explosion in the number of businesses and industrial sectors turning to the data mapping technologies. Say we may say, for example, GAs, geographical or geospatial information systems. So that is a data mapping. So all the way. So the data mapping is using in that with the help of big data technology. That is a big data landscape in 2020. One important data mapping is geospatial information system. That is a GIS. So next, third important big data landscape in 2020 is artificial intelligence, AI, it puts untapped enterprise data to the work. So that is a very important thing. That is a AI all the way, artificial intelligence related application. Next, the fourth important big data landscape in 2020 is the big data as a service. So apart from cloud we are actually, as per the cloud computing, we are having so many services, so many operations, so many things are there. But here, big data as a service, it steps up the upcoming talent shortages and other things. So that is a very, very important thing in the big data landscape in the 2020. The first thing in terms of the infrastructure, as per the infrastructure landscape, here we are using so many technologies. That is a NoSQL database, Hadoop rated, the new SQL databases, so many collections of transport oriented, MPP, that massively processing databases, management and monitoring, cluster services. In terms of the storage and the crowdsourcing is also very important. Research is going on, and security related. So these are the landscape related to the infrastructure. So second big data landscape is the analytics. So the so many research project already done in terms of the analytics. So the analytics solutions, data visualization is one important concept in that big data. Statistical computing, so many methods or so many technologies are there. Social media, sentiment analysis, that is also very important research. Analytical services, big data search, IT analytics, location or people or events, real-time oriented technologies, crowdsourced analytics, SMB analytics. So these are some of the analytics in the big data landscape in 2019. The next applications. So as per the applications oriented landscape, here some sort of ad optimization is there. Publisher tools are there. Some application service providers are there. Industry applications are there. Some marketing also there. So next, the data sources. That is a very important thing. So as per that big data landscape in 2090, the data sources in the sense here the data marketplaces are there. Some data sources are there, and ad optimization also there. So next thing is a cross infrastructure analytics. So as per the cross infrastructure analytics, all the way, so many industries using the cross infrastructure analytics as a big data landscape. So next is the open source project. So the open source project, it may be in terms of the framework, that is a Hadoop or HDFS, or query or data flow, that is a Hive, and data access, that is a MongoDB, coordination or workflow, that is a Zookeeper, and real time is a Strong, and statistical tool or Python or SciPy. So many statistical tools are there. These are some of the open source projects. The next, machine learning, that is a Mahout. Mahout is a machine learning tool based on the big data landscape. And next, another thing is a cloud deployment. So these are some of the open source projects available in the big data landscape. So that is the thing. So more specifically, whenever go for focusing about the big data landscape, more specifically, big data infrastructure, the first one, big data infrastructure, it entails the tool and agents that collect the data, collect the data and the software system and the physical storage media that store the data, the network that transfer the data, the application environment that host the analytic tools that analyze it, and the backup or archive infrastructure that back it up. So that's the thing. The security wise, so many that infrastructure, so many things are there. So apart from the second analytic, the big data analytics, it refers to the analyzing the large and desperate sets of structured and unstructured data to bring the useful by the analytics. So that can be used to make the sustainable decision for the business. So that is a very important. That's why the infrastructure and analytics is very, very important. So that is a thing. So that is a big data landscape in 2019. So why we go for big data? So what is the need? So the growth of the big data is needed. Already I told, that is the increase of the storage capacity, increasing processing power. So these two things. Apart from that, availability of the data. So different data types are there. So these are the three important things. Big data growing in the faster manner because of the storage capacity, processing power, and data availability. So these three important things. So next, why big data? So already we are aware of that. Facebook generated 10 terabyte of data daily, and Twitter generated 7 terabyte of data daily, and IBM also they claims actually that 90% of the today's stored data was generated in just the last 2 years. So nowadays more connected devices than people. So the more now we are in the IoT world. So all the way the IoT world, all the so many devices are connected. So all the so that's the thing. So that whenever the connected devices are there, so automatically the storage capacity also we are in need of more capacity. So in terms of that, we are starting from 2003 to 2020. The 2003, the connected devices are 500 million. So the connected devices are 500 million, but the world population is only 6.3 billion. So that is the thing. So the the next the 2010, the connected devices are 12.5 billion, and the world population is 6.8 billion. But actually, the trusted keeps improving. The connected devices are increasing day by year by year. So 2015, the connected devices are 25 billion, but the world population only 7.2 billion. So like that. So 2020, we are expecting 50 billion connected devices are there, and the world population 7.6 billion. So that's why this is a very important. That's why whenever the Internet of the Things was born, after that, even the big data also improved lot. Actually, the big data will be useful for that operations and other things. So that is a very important thing. And next, how is big data different? So how big data is different? So when people think about data, normally when the people think about data, they generally think about rows and columns. That's normally we see normally as a computer professional, as a computer teacher, we know actually whenever the data easily we will say it's a relational database. That is every information can be stored in the form of rows and columns. That is all matching the format. That is a thing for avoiding what ambiguous things. We are using the normal forms in that relational relational model or relational table like that. That's the thing. So that is one important thing. But unfortunately, only about 5% of the digital data is in that format. The normally we are focusing the data in the sense it's a relational format. It's a relational model only. That is every data can be stored in the form of row and column like that. But unfortunately, only about 5% of the digital data nowadays at present, 5% of the digital data is stored in the relational model format. Relational, that is or it's a table format like that. But it is referred to as the structured data. So in that, it's referred to as a structured data, but in the 95% of the digital data is unstructured. That's another scenario. 95% of the digital data is unstructured one. So that means it's buried inside the machine logs, computer logs, books and documents, websites, legal briefs, some blogs oriented posting, and so many applications. So these are some of the things. This is nearly based for that. So every instance is in a unique digital environment. So in that case, it's a difficult, but it also offers a tremendous business insights. So probably the best example of an algorithm that processes the massive quantity of unstructured data is the Google search algorithm. We know that is the Google search algorithm. Every Google search algorithm, that is it processes massive quantities of unstructured data. So that Google search algorithm, it literally indexes the entire internet, including websites and blogs, in an infinite number of unique formats, and pulls out all the relevant data when I go for searching, or when I go for searching the keyword in that your Google. In that case, it will in that time it will pull out the relevant data based on the given search query. That is also one important thing. So in that, it's an unstructured one. So automatically it will take all the unrelevant or automatically relevant. It will take all the relevant information from that query. So that is one important thing. So that's why that is why the internet is a classic example of the another example. The internet is also a classic example of the unstructured data, and the emerging the big data capabilities are allowing the companies to run similar filters and queries. So that's the thing. So as it turns out, it's unstructured data that provides the greatest opportunity. So that years ago, nowadays we are actually we are using that computer system, that is a system for playing the chess. That is they invented so many algorithms. That the computer algorithms were developed to allow the computers to play the chess. So that is every possible move was entered into the program. That is already it's, stored in the somewhere. So it allowing the computer to calculate every possible move in the game. So that is the thing. So however, the world's chess masters still routinely that beat the computer. So that is the thing. So much later, after that, the data storage and processing became the more accessible. So thousands of previous chess games with the chess matters were added to the algorithm. So it allows the computer to supplement its contingency planning with the probability of how the opponent would respond to any particular move or like that. So that's the thing is happening. So the new data sets of the past game, example the chess game, was vastly larger than the original set of move possibility. So, but it was precisely the data sets that allowed computers to become the unbeatable format. So that is the thing. So based on that, how the big data is different in the sense, first point is automatically generated by a machine. So we are using that with the help of the IoT system. That is a example sensor in the embedded. So with the help of that IoT sensor, we are generating the input, or we are getting the input. So next is typically an entirely new sources of the data. That's the help of the, already I told you that the internet, use of the internet. So the internet is a classic example, I'd say an example of the unstructured data. So that is a second unstructured format. Next is not designed to be friendly. That is a some text streams. So that is a thing. So that's it's a main difference. That's why it's a different in terms of the that big data. That is a, it may be structured or unstructured or not designed to friendly. So that is a thing. So what are the big data sources? So the big data sources may be different users, so different end users. So we have the end users. So the now we all the day we are using that our social media, Facebook or Twitter or something. So through which we are providing some chats or some sort of post or something. So that is we are the end users. And next some application, some sort of application, and maybe the through sensors are like that. The next is system as a input, and next is sensor, that's IoT devices. So these are the different big data sources. So that information is given to the big data file, that is a large and growing file, that is a big data file. So these are the different big data sources. So next, how the data generation points, actually how we are generating the data, what about the data generation points? First thing, through mobile devices. So all the way at present we are in the mobile world, so everybody using the mobile smart mobile system. So in that, through that mobile devices, the data is generated through microphones, through the readers or some scanners is actually input, some science related science facilities, some through some programs or software, some social media, and some camera. So these are some of the data generation point. So through these, the data are generated for that big data. So it's a growing, it's a torrent manner. So that is the thing. The $600 to buy a disk drive that can store all the world's music. 5 billion mobile phones in use in 2010, and 30 billion pieces of content shared on Facebook every month, or like that. So the scenario is going on like that. It's a last decade information. So there is a different data generation point. So next, the structure of big data. So already I told you the data may be in the form of structured or unstructured. So apart from structured and unstructured, they are having semi-structured also. So the structured is nothing but most traditional data sources. Normally, when we go for the data warehousing or demand forecasting in manufacturing, some credit or market risk in the bank, some claim or tax fraud in the public sector. So like there's some fraud deduction, so like that. So that is a structured one. Unstructured is nothing but the video surveillance. Whenever the video surveillance or video analysis, in that case, it's an unstructured one. Semi-structured in the sense, a combination of structured and unstructured. There is maybe a text mining, a disease analysis. So nowadays we are in the COVID-19, so that also we may take the structure in terms of the semi-structure. So some data is a structured format, something is not a thing. So it's a mixture of both the structured as well as the unstructured. So like that, here the structure of the big data in the x-axis we are making structured, semi-structured and unstructured. The y-axis we are making it in terms of the processing, batch processing, velocity of the data, and real-time processing. So that is whenever the batch processing or whenever the batch oriented thing and the structure, it's a traditional data warehousing, demand forecasting in manufacturing, and predictive maintenance in the aerospace. That is also belongs to the structure in terms of the batch as well as the data velocity. So whenever we go for the real-time oriented application with the structured application structure, here the claim and the tax fraud and the markdown optimization in the retail, event-based are like that. So next is semi-structured, that is a text mining, disease analysis of the electronic health record, social media sentiment analysis like that. So unstructured is a video surveillance and the analysis. So these are the structure of the big data. So next, the big data technology. So the big data technology already actually based on the data amount of data stored by the every industry IT company or IT industry, terabytes, petabytes, exabytes, and zettabytes. So in terms of fast data, big analytics, and deep insights. So here, the terabyte of data, that's a fast data, that is a Hadoop, Vertica, MapReduce, KDB, ETL, ECL, Teradata, Netsha. So that company, that industries are using the, that is the terabytes of data. Next, petabyte and exabytes is a big analytics, that is a Cube, MATLAB, and SPSS, SAS. These are the technology they are using it. That the industry that using that. Next, exabytes and zettabytes in terms of the deep insights is nothing but that the unsupervised learning, social media analysis, sentiment analysis, all the predictive modeling, business intelligence and PBO, network analysis, visualization, simulation. So all the thing using the deep insight concept. So these are the outcome of that thing is given to the business objective. The business objective may be in terms of a mass customization of the services, quicker response to the market trend, identifying the real-time cost opportunity, optimization, faster and more accurate decision making, better and more holistic research and development, and autonomic supply chain management. These are the big data technology. So next, big data preparation. So that is a very important thing. The second important, first actually we have seen overview, that is the introduction about the big data. Here, what is the big data preparation? So whenever go for the big data preparation is very, very important. So that is as per that preparation, we are having the perception versus reality. So the perception is nothing but you spend most of your time on analytics. That is a perception. But in reality, you will devote much more time and effort on importing, profiling, cleaning, that is repairing, standardizing, and enriching your data. So that is the thing. So perception all the way. We are using the data for analytics purpose. But in the reality, before making for the perception or before making for the analytics, big data analytics, all the way we are importing the data, profiling, cleaning, repairing, standardizing the data, enriching the data. That is a very, very important thing. So that we'll see. The second, that is a data cleansing. So the data cleansing is nothing but it's a process of detecting, correcting, or removing the incomplete data, or incorrect data, or inaccurate, or irrelevant, or some data is out of date, some data is a corrupted one, some data is a redundant information, some is incorrectly formatted one, some data is a duplicate, that is a, we may say, is a redundant, duplicate, inconsistent, so like that. So that is these are the some of the things. So that should be removed. That process, that is called as a data cleansing. So that data cleansing may be performed interactively with the data wrangling tool or as batch processing through some scripting also. So after cleansing, the data sets will be consistent with the other similar data sets in the system. So that is a data cleansing. So next, data scrubbing is there. Actually, after data cleansing, we are having the data scrubbing. So the data scrubbing is nothing but it's a process of filtering or merging or decoding as well as translating the sources of the data into the validated format, validated data for the data warehouse. That is a very important thing. So in between the data cleansing and the other important thing, data scrubbing is also very important. So the data scrubbing is nothing but it's a process of filtering the data, merging the data, or decoding, or as well as translating the data from one source, one format into the another validated format, that translation will be useful for the data warehouse. That is a data scrubbing. So next, that is the thing, right? Data cleansing versus the validation. Data cleansing may involve removing the typographical errors or validating and correcting the values against a known list of entities. Validation may be strict, such as rejecting any address or that does not have a valid postal code, or fuzzy information, that is correcting the records that partially match with the existing or a known record. So that's a two thing, cleansing as well as the validation. So whenever go for the cleaning, whenever go for the cleansing, here very important thing, the 6 steps. Whenever go for the data cleaning, this is a preliminary. Actually, data cleaning is a data cleansing is a preliminary things whenever go for before making the big data analytics. So the 6 steps to 6 steps is very important for data cleaning. First thing is that we are monitoring the errors. So what type of errors are there in the data? So monitoring the error. Second step is the standardize the process. So we have to strengthen our process. That is a standardize the process. And we have to, third step is the validate the accuracy. So we have to check the validity of that accuracy, whether the accuracy is validated or not. That is the thing. So fourth step is this scrubbing. So scrubbing is important for duplicate data. So avoiding the duplicate data, we are using the scrubbing. Fifth step is we have to analyze. So all the way we have to analyze the data. The sixth step is the communicate with the team. So this is 6 steps for the data cleaning. So whenever go for the data cleansing may also involve activities like harmonization of the data. That is the harmonization of the data as well as the standardization of data. For example, carbonization of the short codes, so the ST or RD something. So that type of code will be avoided, or it can be we can use that. That is the harmonization of that code to the actual data. ST for street, RD for road, like that. So next, standardization of the data is a means of exchanging a reference data sets to a new standard. Example, use of the standard codes. So that is a data cleansing. Next, why data preparation is needed. So already I told you before, when I go for the doing the big data analytics, the data preparation is very important. So it significantly reduces the amount of time needed to ingest and prepare the new data sets for multiple downstream process. Also, it shapes and improve the business data and render your ecosystem simple, scalable, and automated. So that's the purpose of. That's why we go for the data preparation. So data before processing. So data before that's data preparation before that. The work with the mishmash of the data sources. The data is an inconsistent, incomplete format, and it takes you weeks to process the data, the efficient strategy, and vague idea. But after processing the data, so with the help of this data cleansing, after we are cleansing the data, it provides a large set of data repair, transformation, and enrichment options that require the zero coding or scripting. So that's why we go for the data cleansing and data cleaning process. So that is another important thing, the preparation life cycle. So whenever go for, actually we may say that 2 main phases in the analytics life cycle, discovery and deployment. So whenever go for the big data analytics, we are having 2 important life cycles. That is the big data analytics, the 2 life cycles are there, discovery and deployment. So discovery process is nothing but it's driven by asking the business questions that with the help of that questions, we are producing some innovation, we are getting some innovation. So that is a discovery process. That is the first step is therefore defining what the business needs to know. That's all the thing. So the discovery is very important. So after that, we go for the deployment. So that is this is the thing. So as per that, here the preparation life cycle, it started with the discovery, started with the ingest and enrich and publish, and finally it's governing the things. So all the 4 process, all the 4 life cycle with the help of that script authoring. So script authoring is very important for making all the 4 preparation of that life cycle. So first, the ingest is nothing but the data ingestion is a process, is a transportation of the data from the assorted sources or data sources to the storage medium where it can be accessed, where it can be used, and where it can be analyzed, and that analyzed by an organization. That is the thing. What are your data sources? So the data sources may be from the different sources. The sources may be some assorted sources. The next question: are they actually another important point? These are the preparation life cycle: ingest, enrich, publish, and govern. Whenever we go for the data ingestion process, in that case, these are the questions we have to ask. What are your data sources? Are they Office document or social media or clickstreams log? If so, you need to ingest your data. So these are the questions we have to ask. So based on that question, easily we'll understanding of the data as well as the standardization of the data. That is a very important thing. So the data ingestion is nothing but this data. This ingestion is a outcome. That outcome that destination is typically a data warehouse or data mart or data bases or some document store. So the data ingestion is bringing the data into your system, so that system can start acting upon the what data integrate upon the data. So the data integration is bringing the data together. So that is a very important thing. So the data ingestion is nothing but it's bringing the data into your system, so that system can start acting upon it. So that is a very important thing in that ingestion. The next thing is the data. So that is the thing. What you can do the ingest and mend your data. So whenever they go for the data ingestion here, first statistical profiling is very important. So as per the statistical profiling here, I have to create the standard statistical analysis of the numerical data and frequency and term analysis of text data. Some process, the data may be multiple format of the data sources are there, whether that the content is structured or semi-structured or unstructured. That the cleansing also, they remove the non-essential characters, repairing and detecting the schema, then identifying the duplicates. So that is a very important thing. So that data enrichment, that is a data enrichment is a very important way. That is a data ingest. Here the data enrichment is done. Enrichment is happening. So that's the second part is the data enrichment. As per the enrichment here, the data enrichment is nothing but it's merging the third-party data, merging of the third-party data from an external authoritative sources with an existing database of the first-party customer data. So that is a data enrichment. The data enrichment is nothing but it merging the data, third-party data from an external authoritative sources with an existing database of the first-party customer data. So that is the enrichment makes this raw data more useful. That is the thing. After you have cleansing your data, you can leverage any patterns and knowledge-based classification to understand the domains found in your data sets. So use a wide variety of known categories and a vast array of reference data to analyze and recognize the content without depends on relying on any metadata. So after classification of the data sets, they enrich your data sets with related entities from the reference knowledge service and extract the embedded entities found in your data. So this semantically enriches and correlates your data. So that is the thing. So next thing is publishing the data. So the data publishing is nothing but here different sources, different execution formats are there. So different sources or target is there, the execution way is there, and apart from the different format. So these are the publishing the data, and final thing is the data governing. So as for the data governing, here as you ingest, enrich, and publish your data, the cloud service provider provide a user interface driven or some initiative data board page to monitor all the transform activity on your data sets. So that is the dashboard page. It provides the real time about the rows processed and automated alert and errors. That's the purpose of the data board page. The dashboard. The dashboard page is nothing but it provides the real time metrics. It provides the real time metrics about the rows processed and automated error messages as well as the alerts. Alerts will be given. Next, this information can be filtered by the different time slices from the 24 hours to 30 days. That is a very important thing in the data governing. So as for the data governing, the dashboard page is a very important. That's a real. It provides the real-time metrics. So that slice the data filtering can be happen from the 24 hours to 30 days. So by using this dashboard pan and zoom features, you can see what is running at any time. So that is a very important thing in the governing data governing. And that's a dashboard page is very important thing. So the dashboard page also lets you view the types of files being used. What are the types of files are ingested? That is also given in that. So that is the data governing. So these four operation is very important. That is the ingest preparation. Like so you want to go for the data, big data analytics oriented applications. This is the ingesting, data ingestion, enrichment, and publishing, and the data governing is very important thing. So next is we are automating the process. So after end of the thing, the data will be automated. So to automate the process, first you can use a scheduler to set your transformation to run on a daily or weekly or monthly basis. Second, by using different API, you can automate the entire data preparation. So the first four processes is very important. Then after that, we go for the data automation. So next, types of tools used in the big data. So where processing is hosted, first hosting, where the hosting is done. So first thing, it may be a different distributed servers, or it may be in different clouds. Example, Amazon EC2. Second question, where the data is stored. So in terms of the data storage and the storage, data storage. So the data storage, it may be a distributed storage. Example, Amazon S3. Next, what is the programming model? What type of programming model we are using in terms of the big data? So the data, programming model may be a distributed processing. Example, MapReduce algorithm. How the data is stored and indexed. So here, high performance schema. It's for the free databases. Example, we are using the MongoDB for they are storing the data as well as the indexing of that data. What operations are performed on the data? The operation may be analytic operation or semantic processing operation. So that is a different types of tools used in the big data. So whenever we go for using the big data tool, we have to ask these are the things where we have to host, where the data is storing, what type of programming model we are using, how the data is stored as well as the index, and what operations. So based on that, you can choose any tools or any technology. That's the thing. Next, the types of big data technology. Whenever go for the big data technology is mainly classified into two types. So nowadays, the operational big data technologies. Next, analytical big data technology. Operational big data technology is nothing but all about the normal day-to-day data that we generate. So that is through Facebook or like other social media like that. So the analytical big data technology is nothing but like advanced version of the big data technology. So these are the important types of big data technologies. Actually, that analytical big data technology is a little complex than the operational big data technology. So, for example, as per the first case, so operational big data technologies, all the way we are booking the tickets. So the ticket booking based on the operational big data. Nowadays, we are doing online shopping. That is also with the help of the operational big data technology. Some organizations, so all the data can be stored in the cloud format. So that type of thing with the help of the big data technologies and social media thing. So all the way the social media sharing of the data. So next thing is analytical big data. So the analytical big data is nothing but all the stock market oriented application, weather forecasting, space oriented application, medical data related thing. So all the thing belongs to the analytical big data technologies. So how we are relating big data analytics with the data science. So the data science activity with the big data analytics is nothing but the analytic involve the use of the advanced technique and tools of the analytics on the data obtained from the different sources in the different sizes. So already I told you that big data has that property of that high variety of data, high volume, and high velocity. So the data sets come from the various online network, web pages, or audio, or video, social media, or some other information, any other sources like that. So that's the thing. So all the way, the data science activity with the big data analytics in the sense, first the data extraction is the one activity. So the data extraction, we are extracting data from the structured data or unstructured data. Next, the second activity is the data preparation. So the data preparation we are using, the data are prepared by the processing by the Hadoop or other related tools. Finally, we go with the data analysis. The data analysis will be done by the some statistical analysis tool like what Python or R or MATLAB or like that. So these are the data, how we are relating big data analytics with the data science. So the data science activity, data extraction, preparation, analytics, analysis. So this is related with the big data analytics tool like that. So that's the thing. So the top big data technology. So the top big data technologies are divided into 4 fields, which are classified as follows. That is the first thing is in terms of the data sources. So the data data source. Second thing is the data mining. Third is the data analytics. Fourth one is the data visualization. That's a very important thing. Actually, how technologies falling under each of these category with their fact and capability along with the companies which are using them. So we'll see one by one. Now let us deal with the technologies falling under each of these categories: the data storage, data mining, data analytics. So all the fact and some companies using some data in terms of the storage or mining or analytics or visualization. We'll see one by one. The first thing, the data storage. So the data storage, the first Hadoop or MongoDB or Splunk or the Rainstorm, they are using the data store for the data storage purpose. Second thing is the data mining. Data mining, RabbitMiner, Elasticsearch, and Presto is the industry are using that. These are some of the technology, some technologies for the mining purpose. And for the analytic purpose, we are using R or Python or Hafco or Spark or blockchain, NIM, Splunk. So these are some of the tools or technology for the analytics and visualization. So Plotly and Tableau is a very important tool for the data visualization technologies. So that's the thing. So some of the companies they are using the data storage. The first one is the data storage. Is a Hadoop. So these are the some of the overview about that Hadoop is given. So it's a distributed data processing environment. So it's developed by Apache Software Foundation in 2011, written in Java. The current version is Hadoop 3.1 like that. So the companies using the Hadoop is MABR, Microsoft, Intel, IBM Cloud, or Hortonworks. So these are the company using the Hadoop, and the company using the MongoDB, MySQL, SQL Server, and like that. Company using Rainstorm is a credit tools or Barclays like that. So these are the things like that. Data mining is a Presto is a very important technology. So the company using the Presto is the Rubro, Netflix, and Checker, Facebook like that. So next data analytics, the Hafco. The Hafco is also a distributed streaming platform. So it's also written by the Java. So it's written in Java. Its current version is the Apache Kafka 2.2.0. So the company is using Netflix, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and Yahoo. They are using the Hafco technology for the analytics. So other data analytic tools is Splunk, and KNIME, Spark, R language, and blockchain. So data visualization is a Tableau. It's written in Java, C++, Python, and C. So that is the thing. So the company is using the Tableau is Oracle, Click, and Cognos. So other data visualization tool is Plotly. So these are some of the things. So apart from that, emerging big data technologies are TensorFlow is the other big data technology. So it's developed by Google Brain team in the year 2019. It's written in Python, C++, and Java. So the current stable version is 2.0 beta like that, beta. So the company is using the TensorFlow is the Google, Intel, Airbnb, and eBay. So some other emerging technology tools are Beam, Docker, Airflow, and Kubernetes. The Kubernetes is upcoming. There are so many applications or so many projects are going in with the help of that Kubernetes. So that's the thing. So next is the applications of big data technology. So all the things, smarter healthcare, homeland security system, traffic control, manufacturing, multi-channel sales, telecom, trading, analytics, so all the things, all the way is using. So risk of big data. So we are having so many advantages. So at the end, we are having some disadvantages, some risks also there. So it will be so overwhelmed. So need the right people to solve the right problem. That's, every technology having that problem. So even the big data also having the same problem. And second disadvantage, second problem is the cost escalate too fast. So it is not necessary to capture the 100%. That's also another important. Third, very, very important risk is that many sources of the big data is a privacy. So that is a self-regulation there, that when I go for the data compressions or decompressing the thing at that time, that privacy is not much secured one. The legal regulation is also there. So these are some of the risks of big data. So even you can choose the that thing as a your research project. You can further you may eradicate such risks. So how big data impact on IT? So by 2015, 4.5 million IT jobs in big data, 1.9 million is in the US itself. In 2017, the data scientist was #1 job in the Harvard's ranking. So that's the impact of the data, big data. So benefits of the big data, its ability to make the better decisions and take the meaningful actions. And apart from that, to store the data before you know how you are going to process it. And the technology, some technology like MapReduce, Hive, and Impala to run the queries without changing the data structures underneath. That's the benefits of the big data. So apart from that, here I have focused on 3 to 4 projects related to COVID-19. So project one, they proposed the worldwide COVID-19 outbreak data analysis and production. In that project, they have chosen the method is the SCIR predictive modeling. That is a susceptible exposed infected recovered predictive modeling technique for visualization. Once the real-time data query is done and visualized, then the queries data is used for SCIR predictive modeling. So this SCIR predictive modeling to forecast a COVID-19 outbreak within and outside China based on the daily observation. So that is happening, that is going on. Also analyze the queried news and classify the news into negative and positive sentiments to understand the influence of the news to people's behavior, both the political thing as well as the economical manner. So these are the one research project. Second project is the short-term applications of the artificial intelligence and big data, tracking and diagnosing the COVID-19 cases. So that is a second project. Third project is the short-term applications of the artificial intelligence and big data, a quick and effective pandemic alert. So next, fourth project, the modeling of the disease activity, potential growth, and areas of spreading of that thing. Next project is the modeling of the utility of the operating theaters and the clinics with manpower projections. So at the overview, at the conclusion, the overview of this thing, the importance of the big data analytics, it leads to intense the competition and increase the demand for big data professionals. That's the thing. The data science and analytics is an evolving field with the potential, with a huge potential. Data analytics help in analyzing the value chain of the business and gain insights. The use of the analytics, the use of the big data analytics can enhance the industry knowledge of the analyst. So data analyst, that is a very important thing. Apart from that, the data analytics expert provide the organization a chance to learn about the opportunities for the business. So what are the opportunities? That type of thing. That's a very important. That is a healthy thing. So that is another thing. So there is a future of big data. So that is a data storage and processing power continue to accelerate. That is a very important. So much of the current innovation revolves around parallel processing facilitated by the Hadoop and MapReduce processing. So these are the things. So these are the overview of today's session. Okay, thank you. Any queries?
Thank you, sir. That was an excellent session indeed. We have a few questions in the chat window, sir.
Yes,
May I read it out, sir? May I ask?
Yes, ma'am, please.
Yes, sir. Mr. Anup, he asked like, in geosocial network, we can get location-based big data. Can you tell me an application where this location-based big data can be used?
See, where the location-based data in the sense all the way. You see, when I go for that Google Map and all, we are using that, we are finding the current locations, we are getting the current location. So based on that, so all the way, current in the current scenario, in the real time, all the way, we are using that Google Map and other things. So that is a best example. Even for we may say that the Ola or some call taxi, they are using their thing. Even in Singapore and all, they are using without anybody's intervention. All the cars are inspected with the help of that IoT devices. So that also the mapping, that Google Map or that type of thing providing that is a very important application.
So can we take like all geotagged applications can verify?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yes, sir. One more question, sir. Professor Dr. Vel Mail from Qaida Millat College, she asked.
Yes, ma'am.
Like, is there any tool to identify data loss during ingest? I repeat, is there any tool to identify data loss during ingest?
Any tool for
data loss during ingest process?
Okay. But I'm not sure because I'm not familiar with that ingestion part, because it's a when I go for the pre-processing of that thing, we not at all much focusing about that thing. But I'm not aware of that, which tool is better for that. We'll see. If possible, I will refer with because the industry person will know about that, because we are not at all much focusing about that thing. The why I am focusing that ingest and other thing in the sense for the research purpose, it will be very useful. But anyway, I will update you now.
Yes, sir. We will inform it later.
Yes.
And again, Mr. Anup had raised one more question like, sir, can you please differentiate classification and clustering in big data?
Yes, classification and clustering is based on continuous flow of the data, as well as that we normally, whenever we go for the machine learning algorithm, we are classifying a group of data. The clustering, in the sense, the different clusters are there. So that is the thing. Normally, whenever we go for that big data, whenever we go for the machine learning concept, what are the flow of data, continuous as well as the regressive or like that. So that is a thing. That's the thing, ma'am.
I guess the questions are over, sir. Yeah, I guess. Yes, sir. There are no more questions.
Okay, ma'am.
That was a great session indeed, sir. Let me move on to the winding up session, as time is also getting extended. Okay, sir.
Yeah, that's another thing we may say. The classification is that in terms of the supervised learning, that also I forgot that. Classification, we may say in terms of supervised learning, and this clustering belongs to unsupervised learning. So that's also we may say it's the same thing. In what are the applications in that machine learning algorithm? The same thing only, supervised and unsupervised learning.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for the informative session.
Thank you.
Let's all come to the winding up kind of thing. Let me propose the vote of thanks, followed by I will be providing the feedback link. Okay. I would maintain that thanks are the highest form of thought, and that gratitude is happiness doubled by wonder. With a great sense of gratitude, let me thank our management, our beloved principal, for having permitted us to conduct this national level webinar session. I profoundly thank the speaker of today for his spontaneous acceptance in his busy schedule. Sir, the session gave the actual insight into the topic taken today. I hope, like me, rest of the participants also gain knowledge. Also, I would like to make a special mention that our speaker, Professor Dr. Balakrishnan, is of a person who kept on continuously working for much of intellectual technical contributions. To spot such a contribution, Professor had recently published a white paper titled Innovating the Learning Experience Through Educational Technology, a Digital Insight. A couple of days back, it has got published with Data Science Foundation. Hearty congratulations, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
We are delighted to have you as the speaker for today.
Thank you.
And you are the true source of inspiration, sir. We need to keep on working for our own research and our own technical updates too. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
I'd like to thank our beloved HOD madam for her able guidance, constant support, and timely suggestions. Thank you, ma'am. I personally thank all my dear colleague friends for their enthusiastic involvement in all departmental activities as always. Finally, I would like to thank all our participants for their active participation and patient listening. Thank you, one and all. Feedback link will get shared shortly. Please, all of you participants, kindly take the quality time of yours to fill up the particulars. Thank you again, one and all.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yes, please. All of you, please make a note on feedback link. Thank you, participants. Yeah, regarding PPT, we'll try to get the consent from speaker, and with this consent, we will share it through mail, madam. Excuse me.